I'm Paul.
And I'm Shay, and today we're doing an FAQ video. So all the questions you guys ask the most, we're going to answer them today, so let's get right into it.
So starting off with our most asked question, how much did the bus cost? And we've gone over this in previous videos, but we paid about $6,000 for the bus. We paid about 25 into the conversion, leaving us around 31K.
It's just important to remember when talking about conversions, although ours was 31K, bus and van conversions, they go anywhere from 10 to 100K. Totally depends on your wants and needs and the renovations that you're wanting to do. So another question we get asked a lot is about mail. So there are nomadic postal services like Anytime Mailbox or iPostal where you pay a monthly fee and it gives you a movable PO box. Us personally, we have our family back home in Florida that we're getting our important documents sent to a safe place. Now if we didn't have that, we would use a nomadic postal service. We get generic packages you can send through general shipping, so it can get sent to any post office in your area. You just use general shipping. And then there's also Amazon lockers now. Amazon lockers are everywhere now. So you can get Amazon packages through Amazon Locker, you can get regular packages through general shipping at the post office. And then again, if you don't have a family's house or like a permanent address and you really, are truly nomadic, then you can do a nomadic postal service. Another question we get asked all the time is about Wi-Fi, which we have Wi-Fi through this, but it's actually all cell signal. So as long as we have cell service, this acts as a router and gives us Wi-Fi throughout the bus. This is not sponsored, but it's the AT&T Internet Air. It costs $65 a month. Again, picks up cell signal and boosts it throughout the bus so that we can get Wi-Fi and on our laptops and all that kind of stuff. But I did crunch the numbers. You don't have to pay for this device like you have to pay for a $300 Starlink. You just pay the $65 a month. Starlink is not only $300 for the device, but then it's either $50 a month for 50 gigabytes or it's $165 for unlimited. So we pay $65 a month for unlimited instead of $165, and we didn't have to pay the $300 for the Starlink, and we don't have to mount it and deal with all the anyway, we like this preferably. So this is how we get our Wi-Fi, even though it's all cell signal. It's the AT&T Internet Air, not sponsored. Now another question we get asked about is TV, because you guys have noticed that we don't have a TV in here. I have never had a TV in my room. I've never been a big TV person, and the couple years prior to the bus build, we actually didn't have a TV. So it's been quite some time without a TV for us, and we don't mind it because we just watch TV off of our laptop, and we also have a projector screen that we can put up outside the bus or back here, but we don't really do it often because it's kind of a lot of work to set up a projector screen. So only like for big sports games or a movie night or something. The majority of the time we watch TV on our laptop, and I'll show you this fun little thing we made. Okay, so I know this might seem so janky. It probably is kind of funny to people, but it works for us. So we just made this little laptop holder, and it hooks up here like so we can perfectly sit. Isn't that super goofy? It works though, it's fine. So this is our TV. We haven't had TV for what, 3-4 years now?
Yeah, a while.
It's been a while since we've had TV, so laptop works just fine. The other question we got was about clothes. How do we wash our clothes? A laundromat. And where do we keep our clothes? So we have this closet here that has like nicer hanging clothes, I guess. I feel like we did this on our YouTube tour already. This is called our mushroom cabinet. This is where we keep socks, underwear, hats, hair stuff. There's a bunch of hats up here. So this is all like the miscellaneous stuff. As you can see, we both have a big long cabinet back here, and that has like everyday clothing. And then what you can't see is that our whole underneath side of our bed is open, and we have all of our like seasonal clothing under here. Those are the 3 places we keep our clothes: back there, underneath the bed, and in the closets.
So the one thing I would change is the air conditioner. We get a lot of questions about our air conditioner. We ended up going with this, which is actually made for a much smaller space. If you're in a van, this will work for you, but we either needed 2 of these or we should have just put 1 mini split. But that's probably what I would have changed about the bus, is just this is just not quite enough to cool the entire space.
So this Dometic is only 6,800 BTUs, which a mini split is more like 9,000 BTUs. So we should have gone with a mini split. That's what every bus our size has, and that goes to show you, don't recreate the wheel, because we, long story short, with this AC, I'm not going to get into all the tea, but we decided to trust somebody who is probably just trying to sell us something in terms of our electrical system. And kind of what we were talking about at the beginning in terms of like how much your bus costs. A lot of the cost of your bus comes into play with your electrical system and how much you want to power. So if you want to power a microwave, a washer and dryer, all these different things, you're going to have to pay a lot more for your bus conversion. So for us, we should have gotten a mini split, but we had already built so much around our electrical system based off of a guy I shouldn't have been trusting. So, needless to say, if you have a bus of this size, get a mini split. So another question we got was when we were stuck on problems or issues during the bus conversion, who did we turn to?
I asked my dad a lot of questions. He has, he's built a house before. He's got basic carpentry experience.
So I would say, although we did the majority of our build through just like YouTube and online research, when we were stuck, we were very fortunate to make very good friends with a man named Matt. Shout out to Matt. I'll put his handles here. He did the schoolie life with his family and his kids, and he's just a salt of the earth human, and he's just someone who went out of his way to explain things to us and show us things, even though it was all through like messages and stuff like that. So I would say we turned to Matt when it was like schoolie related, and then when it was more like construction related, we'd go right to Paul's dad, because Paul's dad has built a house before. So when we were doing stuff like framing and that kind of stuff, we would always run things by him like, is this really the most effective way to do this? So thank goodness for the dads in our life.
Shout out Imperial Beach Dad!
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
And that kind of leads into the next question. We get a lot of questions about kids, not only if we're having kids, which no, the bus was clearly not designed to have kids in it. This is something we are doing before we have kids. But there are questions about like, oh, I'm a mother of this many kids, could I do schoolie life? Bringing us back to Matt. Matt has 6 kids, and him and his wife and his 6 kids, they have a full-size school bus like we did. They go all over the place, and they're not the only ones. If you're interested in bus life with kids, I would check out either Imperial Beach Dad or the Hawking Family Adventure. We don't have kids, but we do have cats. And so we get a lot of questions about our cats, how they're able to just like roam around and not get lost. They're outdoor cats. Like we never trained them to do this. This is where we found Kilo on the street. We took him into our yard. I think the other thing too, we worked on the bus for 3 years, and the cats lived outside right next to the bus. So sometimes Kilo would come and sleep in the bus while we were working on something, or like under the awning. They were very familiar with that vessel. We were in a fixed location in Florida living on the bus for the first month, so I think that helped too. Yeah. Is we didn't just take them out of their backyard and start changing it up. We just were like, hey, you're gonna come inside at night, which they were not used to. Did you have an initial design before you started building the bus?
Yes. Yeah, we had an initial design, and it changed basically every 2 or 3 months. Yep. We just kind of improvised as we went, but we have drawings of our original design.
Let me find them. So glad I kept these. This was the extent of our blueprint. Some graph paper where we would just kind of lay out like, here's where we want like a kitchen to be, and we kept the general layout, but no, everything changed as you go, because before you do a bus, you don't realize how much like the beams of the bus matter in your design, and so you think like, oh, this is gonna go here, and then you're like, oh no, there's a beam right there I can't go through. So it's very much a learning process when you're doing that. You just kind of have a inspo and be flexible and figure it out as you go. The only way you could have like a successful blueprint that you actually like stick to the whole time is if you actually did your beams of your bus, which we didn't know how important that was when we first started. We had no idea like how crucial that was. Yeah,
we just adapted as we went.
Alrighty, gas. The age-old question about gas.
Yep.
And so how big's our tank?
We have a 100-gallon tank.
100-gallon diesel tank.
We get about 6.5 to 8 miles a gallon. A full tank will get us 1,000 miles highway, which actually is not terrible.
If you want fuel efficiency, don't choose a bus. Nothing about our design was for fuel efficiency, and we are aware of that. We love our gas guzzling beauty. It's like $350 to fill up our tank, but mind you, it'll be double that in California.
Because for whatever reason, gas is twice the price in California. So
gas, though, is our rent. We don't ever pay to, or at least we haven't so far, paid to stay at campgrounds. We view that as like the last resort ever. So we normally are not paying where we're staying. And so our main expense is our gas. It is a lot of money to, I mean, we're not stupid. $350 is a lot of money to fill up your tank.
It is, yeah.
But that's our rent. Yeah. And it's allowing us to travel the country, so
it's worth it.
Totally worth it. The main question we got asked about in every different formation of this question is about our travel plans. Okay, so let's start off with this. We're traveling the United States. We're not taking our bus internationally. We'd love to travel international one day in the future, but like via plane. We want to do like a big loop around the country. You know, there's certain areas that interest us more than others. We're very nature based. We don't really like cities. We're not super into like city attractions. We want to see all the national parks. We like state parks, just like nature based stuff. So that's our travel plans, is to see the United States. Do we plan in advance? Yes and no. So we plan, like, we have an idea, like, hey, this is what we'd like to do. But with bus life, changes are always happening. You have to be very, very, very flexible. So we don't actually book things out like in advance, especially because, like I said, where we're staying, we utilize free stays. So we're not having to like book out campgrounds like a month in advance, you know? So yeah, no, we really do just go with the flow. Do we have an idea of where we're headed and what we want to do? Yes, absolutely. But do we have it booked, and are we on a timeline, like a strict timeline, have plans, and we're going here on this day? No. No, we literally talk about like, hey, so we're gonna go to this national park in 2 days. We should probably figure out how we get there and what we do and all that stuff. Which that leads into another part of the question, which is how we find where we stay. This is not a secret. If you are any sort of RV, van life, nomad of any kind, everyone kind of uses the same thing. It's Campanium, iOverlander, the government websites, and Harvest Hosts if you have that. And then if you have an RV, there's like certain ones for like RV campgrounds, which we don't have. But there are so many apps and programs that allow you to find the free places you can stay. You can like put in how big your rig is, so we can see. So far, like I said, we haven't paid for a campground yet. We've been staying all places that are covered in those programs. So like you might pay for a Harvest Host membership to access that app, but then it's opening up thousands of places for you to be like, oh, I can stay here. Like right now we're on free government land. So anyway,
pretty awesome.
How long are we planning on living in the bus?
Depends on how long it takes us to travel and really see everything we want to do.
Definitely not a forever thing. And not that we wouldn't live on the bus anymore, it's just then we'd like to find a place to start homesteading and make the bus more of like a fixed home and start building our own home. That's kind of like our next DIY project down the line, but we're going to travel the country first and enjoy that, and then we'll start homesteading and start our family and start building a house and all that kind of stuff. So
we're kind of just traveling around to avoid the super hot and the super cold. So as it gets a little bit hotter in summer, we're going to be heading further up north. And as we start heading into winter, we're probably going to be heading back south toward the warmer weather. So we're just going to be migrating with the birds.
We got questions about like, how do you travel in ice? How do you travel in snow? How do you travel? Like, we haven't done that yet, so I can't speak on it, and I'm not going to sit here and like act like we've driven through snow and ice, because we haven't. We're going to try to avoid it.
Yeah, we're just not going to do that. We're not going to travel in ice and snow if we can help it.
Yeah, if we can help it, for sure. We're going to avoid that. And then when it comes to extreme weather, I mean, we do not live in fear. That's a big motto that we live by as Christians, is to not live in fear. And so we do not base our travels around the potential of a tornado here or the potential of a earthquake here. We just go with it, and we're smart about it. Our bus has made it through a Category 5 hurricane back home in Florida before we even took off on the road. Our bus made it through that. We've also, when we were in Nashville, we did have tornado warnings, tornado sirens going off all around us, really high winds. Bus was just fine. And then we also, when we were driving the other day through high wind warning, so we're driving 70 miles an hour down a highway with 70 mile an hour crosswinds. So that was really intense as well. And the bus handles everything fine. We've not had anything come loose. Nothing has broken. So this bus is way more secure than a normal RV is. It's like a tank compared to that. So we feel very, very, very safe in this bus. I will say that. Last question. I saved this for last because this is the #1 question we get asked. So if you made it to this point, comment a money emoji, because you guys are so curious about money, our jobs. And I get it, but I also, it's so interesting to me because it's like, this is not a rich lifestyle. It's a much more humble lifestyle than living in a normal home. So if you're living in a normal home, in a normal town, you probably are spending, or I know you're spending more living your life than we are, in terms of, it's just like, it's a totally different lifestyle living on a bus.
Yeah.
It's, because people always comment like, or make questions about like, oh, you must be so rich. First of all, we've clarified this before. We're not trust fund babies. We don't have an inheritance. We don't have anybody paying for this other than ourselves. And we do this all with our hard-earned money from our own jobs. And we're not rich either. We are not financially wealthy individuals. We live pretty paycheck to paycheck, means to means. Like I don't want to say we're just getting by, because we are extremely fortunate and blessed, but like we're not wealthy or living a life of luxury by any means.
Yeah, I mean, we work off of the sweat of our back. Like, that's how we made this happen. We didn't have any handouts. Like, it was all just hard-earned work and saving up with our own, money.
Which, that's another thing, people are always like, you're so lucky. It's like, no, this was a lot of hard work. Which, let's just cut to the chase. What do we do for work? Okay, so we're both in marketing. We've had remote jobs since 2021. You're in like the digital marketing sector, I'm in the social media marketing sector. So we had full 40-hour-a-week jobs all throughout the bus conversion, and that's why we were only able to work on it on the weekends. Now, since the bus has been done, in full transparency, we have taken a slight step back from our jobs. We still have jobs, but we're not full-time. One, because we want to have the ability to travel, but also because we have been very blessed to amass a very large following. And working in the marketing sector, we're trying to capitalize on that. How awesome would that be if we could quit our corporate jobs and be able to work for ourselves? So we're not going to hide the fact that we are trying to put effort into the content creation side of things and trying to make something out of this following that's been handed to us. I mean, like, we have no idea why millions of people have chosen to follow us, but we're so grateful for it, and we're going to try to make something out of it. So we have taken a slight step back from our corporate job, but with that being said, I would say we work more than 40 hours a week, because we're trying to make something out of our own for our own career, and then we have normal jobs, so it's even more work now, in a good way, not like in a pity me way, but in a way where it's like, no, trust me, we're working full-time jobs and more, because we want to work ourselves out of a corporate job.
Right. And who wouldn't want to,
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to do that?
So yeah, that's where incomes come from, jobs. We work very hard. Nothing's handed to us, but we are very blessed and very fortunate to be hard workers and be able to make something for ourselves and have parents who raised us to be hard workers and to go for things,
For sure.
One more question about money. Did we have the funds, or like, do you save up the funds for the conversion before starting? No, short answer. Longer answer is that's actually what appealed to us about a bus versus an RV, is you can get a really nice RV and pay this much down and have this much monthly payments or whatever. For us, we didn't have the upfront money, so we paid for a $6,000 bus. That was all we had up front. And then from there on, every weekend, you're kind of just spending like $50 this week, $100 this week, whatever you're spending at Lowe's that weekend. And so then we would just that allowed us to do it without having a bunch of money saved. Right. So you could save up the 30 or 40K, or you can just, knowing that it's going to take you a year to do it, if you have income coming in, instead of, we gave up our whole weekends. So instead of going out with friends, going to concerts, birthday parties, weddings, traveling, all that time was going into the bus. Therefore, the money was not being spent on all the things we used to spend it on, or we had the money to put into the bus. Which honestly, while we're here, let's just say that, which is the money is one thing. Yes, it's money, but it's really the sacrifice that you make to do, or that we made to do this bus conversion, giving up every single weekend for 3 years on top of our full-time jobs. So we were working 7 days a week for 3 years, never taking a break, missing every wedding, birthday, vacation, everything fun in life that you used to do. We were missing out on and saying no to, knowing that it was a sacrifice that was going to be worth it in the end. So people talk all the time about money this, money that, and for me, it's like, the money is, anybody can make money. Do you have the determination and the grit and the sacrifice to do the thing? That's why I get a little frustrated when people are like, you're so lucky. It's like, oh, it was anything but luck. It was we went through, it was a rough season for us that I think we're just now starting to be on the other side of and be able to talk about openly. But it was rough in the sense that we were just beat. We were just exhausted all the time, because you're working your normal jobs, then you work on the weekends, and it's doing a bus conversion is not easy. It's very frustrating. We're out in the 99-degree Florida heat every day.
Yeah.
It was brutal. So money's one thing. Do you have the cojones to do it and grit it out and sacrifice and work hard, even on the days where you get, like, it seems like you're taking 10 steps backwards. So anyway, I don't know if you can tell throughout this video, but we do have new merch on. We got tons of new fun designs we're launching in honor of the bus being done, and that is the best way to directly support us in our journey and the adventure we're on. So if you want to check out our merch, buslifeforme.shop, we would love your support, and we'd love to see you repping the Bus Life for Me merch. So anyway, we hope you enjoyed this FAQ video, and if you made it to this point, leave a heart emoji or a money emoji or a bus emoji. Get the emojis going in the comments.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
Smash it.
Subscribe.
Hit the little notification bell and smash that like button.
And thanks for watching, guys. We love and appreciate you, and make sure you check out the new merch. Woo!